Welcome to the Candidate Forum for the Office of Mayor of Fremont, sponsored by the League of Women Voters of Fremont, Newark, and Union City, and the American Association of University Women. My name is Alex Starr, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Fremont, Newark, and Union City, and I will serve as your moderator for this forum. First, a brief word about the League. The purpose of the League of Women Voters is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League is nonpartisan. The League does not support or oppose any political party or candidate. It is political in that it reaches positions on selected governmental issues after member study and agreement and takes action for positive change on these positions. Here are the ground rules for this forum. Questions from the audience will be collected and given to the question sorters, who are sitting to my left, who will sort them to ensure a wide variety of issues will be covered. Due to time constraints, we may not be able to ask every question submitted. Each candidate will have a minute and a half to respond to the question. Our timekeeper, who is seated in front, down below here, will raise a 15 seconds card to warn the speaker when 15 seconds remain, and a stop card, bright red, can't miss it, when the time is up. The speaker must immediately conclude his or her remarks. Time limits are closely followed to ensure fairness to all candidates. We will conclude with a 1.5 minute closing statement by each candidate. For the candidates, if you would like me to repeat the question, please just ask. I'd be happy to do so. Also, do not feel that you have to use up the entire 1.5 minutes for a reply. Well, we try. We expect the audience to give each speaker an opportunity to be heard. Please hold your raucous applause until the end of the evening. So, now that you know the format, please let me introduce the candidates running for Fremont Mayor. At the end is Bill Harrison, Anu Natarajan, Steve Cho, Aziz Akbari, and Linda Susoff. Welcome to you all, and I thank you for running for this really important office. And we'll start off with the first question. We drew numbers to see who would go first, and Mr. Harrison will go first, and we'll go down the line. Now, we'll start off with a real easy question.
Right.
Now that redevelopment funds are not available for affordable housing, what can the mayor and council do to find other funding so the stock of housing for low-income residents can be increased?
Thank you very much. And yes, an easy question. Not an easy solution, though. As mayor, I will continue to work with our state legislatures and those in the Senate to see what solutions we can provide for affordable housing. They took away our greatest tool for eliminating blight and helping out our historic neighborhoods, as well as providing affordable housing to our residents with the death of redevelopment. What we can do is look for grants, look for other solutions from the government, but the most importantly is we need to find public and private partnerships to work together. The solution's out there, and the solution's going to be developed as a team atmosphere. And as mayor, I will help be part of that team that brings a wide variety of solutions to that. We have our inclusionary ordinance where we're building up funds that we can use as a city to help eliminate some of the housing issues that we have. Well, as a mayor, I will continue to work with those in the development industry to make sure they're contributing their fair share plus a little bit more to that housing fund, that we can build that up. And then we as a city, we should not be in the development industry. We go out and find a partnership there and find someone that will help build the affordable housing that the families and residents need. I tell the story that I want to work to make sure we're building a city for my kids so that when they return from college, they can find a place to live that is affordable. We need to plan for this generation so we have a great and bright future for everyone ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For Fremont to be a complete city, we need to make sure that we have all levels of housing. One of the things that I will do to make sure that we have affordable housing is to look for design options. So we have other kinds of prototypes, smaller units, which have an inbuilt affordability to it. I'd also look to leverage the limited amount of resources that we have by pulling in private partners and looking at regional solutions to make sure that we have as a goal the idea of including affordable housing in our community. I'd also look to creating a housing trust fund to make sure that we have a pot of money that can be used on projects. And when private developers and nonprofit developers are looking for that additional seed funding to go after grant monies, that we have something in the pocket for that. I'd take a look at our inclusionary zoning ordinance and see if we should increase the amount to make sure that we have that additional resources for affordable housing as well. And again, looking at state level solutions, I'd look to see if we could, in getting back some of the redevelopment dollars into our general fund, set aside that amount of money that was dedicated for affordable housing to go towards affordable housing. And also look for solutions such as the 55% voter approval for economic development and something similar to that, dedicated source of revenue for affordable housing as well. I think it's an important goal and needs to stay an important goal with or without redevelopment dollars.
Thank you.
I think most of us would probably agree that everyone should have some sort of housing. While I was on council, I was an advocate for affordable housing as well. But now the redevelopment is gone, to look at other means to get revenue, I think we're trying to satisfy state mandates, and these are numbers being dictated to us by state agencies. In the past, they've always come up with numbers that they want cities to follow. This is, I think, beyond the reach of a lot of cities. If they're going to come up with unfunded mandates like that, we need to go back to them and request or demand that they come up with the appropriate funding in order to achieve this type of housing. Aside from that, I think bringing in businesses and perhaps adding a component of affordable housing to a business, even though that may be contradictory, I think that component to having a business license may be another way to increase the pool of money. Going up with public funds is certainly things that we need to go look at. There are grants that I'm sure exist, but everybody else throughout the state are looking for the similar grants. So it's a difficult solution, easy to ask, but there are no perfect answers.
Thank you.
So there are two main things that the mayor should be doing in order to make sure that we can provide more affordable housing. The first is obviously to go after grants, both federal and state grants. They're out there, they're available. We need to make sure that Fremont's making that push and that we are going out there and making sure that they know that we need the money. And the second thing is to develop both public and private partnerships. As Mr. Harrison pointed out, it is absolutely essential that we go to the development industry and we tell them, look, we need your help in providing affordable housing so that everyone has a fair opportunity and isn't going out of their means just to live and have a roof over their head. In high school, I actually worked with Habitat for Humanity, and with those families, it's very apparent that they really need help, and the city needs to be there to provide that help, so that everyone can have a roof over their head, and our kids can grow up in a proper house. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Susan?
Which microphone?
That one right there.
Huh?
That one shouldn't.
Shows no red
It's on.
light. I had mentioned since I've started in 1989 to lower the cost of living, lower rent, find more jobs, or there will be no future. In 2 years, they double old houses from 100 to 200,000, but they don't double our wages, and more people are being laid off of work. So I had mentioned my ideas Wednesday night. We were at the Fremont adult school, and the gal said, I don't blame you for giving your ideas, and I know my ideas would work, so when I get elected, you'll see how the ideas work. And I've already talked with one movie star's wife out of state about getting rid of one of the biggest crooks in office, and it would possibly work. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Ms. Natarajan this time. How can we work to solve problems regionally, and what specific areas of government would you think would benefit most from a regional approach that you would support as mayor?
Thank you. With the work that I've been doing over the last 3 years with American Leadership Forum in Silicon Valley, one of the things we've been looking at is taking a look at the way we deliver services. There are certain things like transit and land uses that are more regional in nature. I serve on several regional boards and have been able to take a look at how we should work together, not just to go after funding, but take a look at some of the solutions. Transit, for instance, is not a citywide solution. It is region-wide. Land uses, affordable housing, and being aggressive about a regional economy. I believe it's time for us to take a look at how we are part of a regional economy, make sure that we consider ourselves an integral part of Silicon Valley, and go after businesses, not just nationally, but internationally in this 21st century global economy. So the things that I would look at are infrastructure development, education, affordable housing, land use and transportation options, and taking a look at those on a regional basis. I was part of a group that put together these workshops across California, 14 different regions, looking at regional economies, looking at what makes each economy thrive. And one of the things that we came up with for Silicon Valley is to do a regional innovations hub, which I believe would be appropriate for us to locate near the Warm Springs BART station and make sure that we continue to function as a regional economy instead of a citywide economy.
Thank you.
Well, in terms of trying to make our dollars go further, there are many things that I think the city can do to stretch the services that cities need to provide. For example, public safety. That's something that can be regionalized. Not that I'm an advocate of it, but if push comes to shove, consolidating the public safety is one way to save, conserve, and make the dollars go further. Transportation is an issue that needs to be done on a regional basis. If that had been done for BART back in the 1960s and 70s, we wouldn't be having the problems today that trying to expand BART. Because looking at the decision on a city-by-city basis, everyone wants to protect his or her own domain. And no one wants this in their backyard, but yet it's a good thing for the regional perspective. Another example is use of communication devices in our public safety. Having a regional approach, mandating or dictating the similar equipment to be used throughout the region is a good way to share information and communicate. During the last crisis that we had, police departments, fire departments could not communicate with one another between cities because of the differences of equipment. This is a waste of taxpayers' dollars. Thank you.
Thank you.
So there's two main areas that I would focus on and take a more regional approach rather than just a citywide approach. The first would be transportation and infrastructure. I'm sure everyone here has used BART and AC Transit, and you know how useful it is to have that regional approach to transportation where you can get from city to city so easily and with very little hassle. So that is something that we do need to focus on and grow and work with mayors of other cities and with other transportation services to make sure that we can grow BART, grow AC Transit, and become much more connected here in the Silicon Valley. The second thing that I would really focus on would be education. A lot of people don't talk about our library. Our library is the Alameda County Library. The library system is part of a larger network, a larger regional network. If you ever want a book and it's not here in this library, what do? They get it bussed over from another library. That's also something that I really focus on. Coming in with a youth perspective, I'm really looking out for our libraries, our schools, and doing more for the AC library is something that I would definitely focus on. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Ms. Susoff?
The benefits that would work, I would Our main problem is the air pollution in the Bay Area, and public safety is another issue. And for BART to be extended, I mentioned they should, like you said, get to Warm Springs, then these cars will not be around Fremont BART as much as down at Warm Springs, and that way you keep the traffic down, you keep the air pollution away. The economy is the other problem, and something's got to be done about it, and I will look into that definitely. Affordable housing and education, all of them are important. So a lot of high school kids have been talking to me in the past and are interested in me to be elected mayor because they know I have, like my grandfather, people love his money, love who he was, what he did. He worked wonders, and I'm sure I could do the same thing because there's one woman's movie star out of state who talks with me, and she says, just by talking to you, I could tell you have the same type of heart as your grandfather. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Sure. How can we work to solve problems regionally, and what specific areas of government would you feel would benefit most from a regional approach that you, as mayor, would support?
Thank you very much. The borders of our cities are just lines on a map. They're not walls, they're not barriers. And the problems that we have seep over to our neighbors, and our neighbors' problems seep over to us, whether it's pollution, crime, transportation is obviously the biggest one. On a regional level, I will work as mayor to increase Fremont's presence on a regional basis in two ways. First, I think land use decisions should be based in Fremont. Local land uses should be decided locally, not by someone's standards set up at a regional level on the outside. And I'll make sure that we fight to keep our local land control the best we can. Number two, it's obviously transportation is the biggest way we can work regionally and form partnerships. One of the first things I did as city council member when I got elected in 2006 was I worked with some of our regional players to form a Warm Springs BART Advisory Policy Committee. And that committee went up to the transportation leaders, Metropolitan Transportation Commission, and other regional players and said, let's break the BART contract up into two segments. So you have the undergrounding, which is being completed right now in Central Park, and then the line track work that is going to be completed after that. Those are two entirely different types of construction. And by building those two constructions out as two contracts, we got more competitive bids, saved millions of dollars, and we're allowing this project to happen now. So we need to look regionally. We need to provide real-world solutions and make sure that we're at the table when these decisions are made. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll start with Mr. Cho this time. If you become mayor, would you support the development of a youth center that so many community organizing groups support? And if you do, where do you think it should be located?
The development of a youth center, I think, would go a long ways for Fremont. That's the one common theme that I keep hearing throughout the city when I talk to various groups throughout the community. What is it to do for our youth? That's the main question. Of course, we have the teen center in Central Park, and I think that's probably about the best centrally located place around. But there's a cost to use that. We as a city need to provide